There is a lot going on with Marvel comics, both good and bad, but there is something going on that I am particularly interested in. I bought Ultimate Wolverine #1. I have watched a bunch of videos where some different YouTubers are talking about Ultimate Wolverine #1. Again, I haven't read it yet. Spoilers don't really bother me because whether a person spoils, I say that with air quotes, a comic or not, there's still something about reading the comic book for yourself. There's many videos I've watched where people have covered comic books, in its full length, and I go read the book and still get premium enjoyment reading the book because no matter if you hear me talking about a book, that will not replace you physically sitting down, picking this book up, reading it, flipping through the pages, getting to see the art up close and personal with your own eyes, seeing whether you like the art or don't like the art. But the Ultimate Universe is a very good a very good storytelling opportunity on a grand scale for Marvel. What they're doing in Ultimate Spider-Man, in my humble opinion, is astronomically good, comparatively speaking, compared to other things that we've seen in comics. Now, I guess the argument can be made that, oh, well, maybe it's not that good. Maybe it's just rose-colored glasses because other things aren't so good. That might be the case. We could get on that argument and go back and forth probably for hours. But I think objectively, Ultimate Spider-Man is a good story. What I've read of Ultimate Black Panther is also good. Now, I haven't kept up with Ultimate Black Panther or any other book within the Ultimate universe like I have Ultimate Spider-Man. For me, as far as mainstream industry comic books, that was my favorite run of 2024. By far, hands down. I enjoyed some of the reboot of Wildcats, although I guess DC just gave up on that, which I was kind of sad. It wasn't the greatest story, but I was enjoying it, and I think it had the potential to build. It seems like they changed some things from the '90s books. I have to go through those old Wildcats books again and see, but I'm pretty sure they changed up quite a number of things in the story. But it was okay. It wasn't bad. Like I said, I enjoyed reading it, and I wish they would have continued with those books. Maybe they did continue and I just missed it. I didn't see it somewhere, but I was collecting and waiting for the new issues to come out. And at some point it just stopped. And I believe I went to DC's website looking to see, have new ones been released, and maybe my comic shop just didn't pick it up. And I didn't see them on the website. So I was kind of bummed by that because I thought the story had potential to go on and be something good. But I get it. If it wasn't making enough money, if it wasn't doing the numbers, they're not going to keep it around. But I think the Ultimate Universe is, from what I've seen, it is something that Marvel can use as a springboard and an example of good storytelling. Now, I'm not going to tell you every book within the Ultimate Universe is good storytelling, but I've read, I think Ultimate Avengers #1. Was it Ultimate Avengers? I have to go back. The one that introduced Nick Fury and what was going on with him. I thought that one was pretty good. Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther. I think these books have done a good job of having a good enough story that if I wanted to pick up those books, it's like, oh, I'll pick those up. Now, obviously, you know how I get down on this channel. If I'm not mentioning the book, I either have not read it or I did not think it was good. So I'm not going to focus on things I don't like. But Ultimate Wolverine, this is a different take on Wolverine. He has if you can see it, he kind of looks like a mix. I'm trying to get it without the light being on it. He kind of looks like a mix between Wolverine and Deadpool. And this is the first time that we see Wolverine's face completely covered. And from what I've seen, everyone reviewing this book, Wolverine is a complete savage. I also got Wolverine number 5, which is pretty good. I read that. I'm going to do a full review of that book, Lord willing. I'm missing Wolverine number 4. I don't know what happened. Sometimes I'll go in my comic shop. Sometimes I'll miss one week just getting busy and, forgetting about things. And no, I don't have a pull list. The reason I don't set up a pull list or a pull box personally is because sometimes these series are good and then sometimes they're bad. And then you have this pull box and it's like, nah, I really don't want that. I'd rather not have a pull box. I go to the store. If they have what I want, I buy it. If I can't find it locally, I can always order it online, and I have no problem doing that. Some people would rather do their pull box, and I definitely understand that. I get it. It just makes it convenient. For me, really doesn't matter to me. If it's there, I pick it up, like I said. If not, I'll order it. But I think these books or some of these ultimate books have been good enough that they've brought me back time and time again. And Ultimate Spider-Man specifically has brought me back every time. Some people have had issues with the infrequency of action in some of the books. I have not struggled with that. I don't necessarily have a problem with a book taking its time, being slow. Some people, that it's just a no-go for them, right? And different people have different interests and different go no go gauges when it comes to comic books. There's people that have all kind of metrics whereby they judge a book. I've told you my judgment before. If the cover doesn't grab me, I am not picking up the book. Now, that has done me dirty more times than not. There's a really good cover. You think, oh man, and then you open a book and it's like jarring. Like, this is nothing like this cover. Obviously, cover artists aren't necessarily the interior artists, which I wish that would change, right? I wish we would get to a point where whoever drew the cover is who drew the book. So you know what kind of art you're getting in that book just looking at the cover. That would be great. That would be great. There was a time in comic book history where that was the case. I would like to say all through the 90s, from my memory, all through the late 80s and early 90s, any comic book I ever picked up, whatever I saw on the cover was what I got in the book. That was my experience. Maybe it's just the way I picked comic books. And this is part of the reason why, for me, covers are it. A cover has to grab me before I'm going to touch that book. If the cover doesn't grab me at all, then I'm just like, I'm not going to waste my time. Now, a lot of people do what I do. I'll walk in the comic book shop sometimes, and there's certain books I'll flip through to see, okay, am I going to enjoy this? Is this going to be something that I actually enjoy reading? And I can tell just looking at the panels and looking at some of the art if this is going to be something I enjoy. Nonetheless, kind of getting on a tangent, the Ultimate Universe, the story they're building around the Ultimate Universe, the Maker, and what's coming down the pipe with the Maker is getting exciting. This is going to be a worlds collide kind of event when the Maker hits the scene. It's about to get real, and I have a feeling this is going to be fantastic, or at least I hope it is. That's why I said this has the potential to be one of those gigantic stories that you look back on, in years to come and think, man, that Ultimates run with the Maker was really good. And so far, I think it is. I think this is why I say I don't think the industry is done. Like, I don't think the industry is just over. I know many people have that feeling like it's all over. It's done. It's done for DC. It's done for Marvel. I guess I can kind of speak for DC, what they've been doing with their All-In initiative with Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and Absolute Superman, Absolute Aquaman. It appears to be working. Now, time will tell if they will stick the landing if this will be something that's actually enjoyable. I think they're kind of taking cues from what's going on with Ultimate Spider-Man and the Ultimate Universe in general, and kind of going off of that model just slightly. And so I think it is my suspicion, it is my hope, it is my desire that they stick the landing and all of these things actually come out well. I always say I want the comic book industry to survive and thrive. Because if the comic book industry survives and thrives, I think that opens up even more doors for independent creators. Now, that doesn't mean that independent creators need mainstream comics to succeed in order for them to succeed. I don't think that's the case. I think independent creators can succeed with or without mainstream comics. But I think if Marvel and DC do exceptionally well, I think that just generates enthusiasm into the comic book space in general, thus affecting some of these smaller and independent creators in a good way. So I want them to succeed. I want all of these companies to succeed. And of course, obviously, I want it to be done the right way. I want good stories to be told. I want good art to be in these books. And I want storylines and universes that are cohesive and that I can follow and enjoy. This is the greatness and the enjoyment of comic books. It's a storytelling mechanism and medium that is very immersive, because you don't have just somebody, writing out a story like in a book, which books are great. Don't get me wrong. I love a good sci-fi book, but you have visuals attached to that. And I think it kind of attaches you more to these characters because in some ways you feel like you know them, if that makes sense. So yeah, this Ultimate Wolverine, from what I've seen, all of the reviews and all of the people that have done walkthroughs, it's looking pretty good. So I am excited to get into this book to see what's going on. And I'm excited to see what 2025 has for Marvel Comics. Maybe they let me down, but I'm hoping they don't.